This is a very beautiful flower, but the heat's gotten to it. Cone flower, echinacea. Echinacea is very good. The seed in that cone, you can shake out when they're dry and take it like aspirin. It's a good pain reliever. Who knows more things about echinacea?
It's an immune booster. You can dig
Yeah.
the roots.
Okay, the root's good for the immune. Anything else?
Make a
Anybody?
tincture out of it.
A tincture?
Infection.
Okay. So, very useful plant. That's a type of mint, and I've looked it up before, don't have much of it. That's a rescue plant from whenever they built the school out there at Baker Prairie. I dug that up and put it in there, and that's the only one I have in my prairie, I think. There's quite a few mints out here. Did I mention earlier that I'm the proud owner of a distiller that hadn't arrived yet? I don't think I did.
Hasn't been rated.
Yeah, so I'm going to have a still, okay? But a still for distilling oils. And here's one.
An essential oil distiller.
Oil distiller. And so I want to learn how to do that.
Did you get it from
What is that?
No, I didn't.
Which one's that, Daddy?
What?
Is that Slender Mountain Mint?
No, this one's not. This one is commonly called horse mint. It's got a beautiful lavender flower, which is gone now. Square stem tells you it's a mint. This is bee balm, okay? If you got it in your landscape, bee balm. Our bergamot. There's oil that comes from that. We'll distill that one.
But the bergamot is not the same as the citrus bergamot.
Okay. This
it's
one,
not.
see it right here growing? I've got a lot of this in the prairie. This is Slender Mountain Mint, and I'm really anxious to distill this one because I've not seen this one available. I don't know what this is in an oil. Who knows? This may be cancer's cure. I don't know. There's another beautiful plant right here that Hannah and her kids eat a lot of. What do they not eat? but it's called spiderwort. I'm gonna break one off. Hannah, tell them about spiderwort.
So spiderwort.
It's got a beautiful flower in the morning,
Yeah,
but it's too hot
beautiful
now.
flowers. Right on the top that are purple. And do you guys remember George Washington Carver? He's a botanist, really neat guy. He said he felt like the spiderwort was one of nature's finest specimen of a plant. He loved eating the tops. Indian children, it was like candy to them. They're slightly sweet. Now our taste buds think sweet is something different than what their taste buds did. So it's a mild flavor, but it adds beautiful blooms to any salad. You can just toss it right in a salad. But it's called spiderwort because of this trait it has here. It's mucilaginous. You see all this slimy stuff that comes out of it? It's like a spider. And so it's called a spiderwort. But you can watch, it's like a bunch of little webs whenever you do this with your finger. It's kind of fun to play with.
Is it just the flowers you can eat?
The whole plant you can eat. And because it's mucilaginous, like okra, have you ever torn open okra and it's just like, it's the same thing. It's like spider webs everywhere. It thickens soup, so it's a good thickener, just to throw into a pot of wild soup. That's all I know.
Yeah, this is ashy sunflower. We have a lot of the aster. The aster is a big species of plant in the plant kingdom. This one is ashy, and if you come out here in about a month, there'll be a sunflower. Think of the sunflower that traditionally you see growing, but only this big. And it has sunflower seeds, and the birds eat them and that sort of thing. But if you start looking for this plant, it's prolific. It really likes the prairie.
Do you want to share with them like why you started this prairie and what prairies are about and
Yeah, my parents met at a little church down the road here called Prairie View Baptist Church. Dad came home from World War II. Mom came back from the Boeing plant in Wichita, making warplanes. They met, the two families. Both hail from Searcy County, the Harnesses and the Ruffs. They were attending that church. My dad saw my mom. They later married, bought that farm over there, 80 acres, and they paid $4,000 for it, I think. with the house and a barn. And the lady even left her dinnerware there and put a hen on and baked a hen and left that for their first dinner.
That's hospitality right
That's
there.
the way people used to be when you bought a farm. Okay, but anyway,
So do you eat the sunflowers?
growing up, this was called Prairie View. But as I got older, it's like, Dad, where's the prairie? Well, the prairie's all gone. It's all been destroyed. And all that's left of the prairie that once was here, that went all the way to Harrison, is what we call Baker Prairie, out by the high school, and there's about 70 acres of it left. At one time, it was over 10,000 acres. It extended all the way down. And I thought, what a shame. You know, we don't have any of the prairie left. So I looked into the possibilities of doing a prairie restoration. In 1998, I started a restoration out here. And since then, the Nature Conservancy's been here. The Farmer, what's that magazine called?
Farmer's Almanac?
No, Progressive Farmer,
Yeah.
they've been out here, different groups, and they've said this is one of the best looking restoration prairie programs they've seen. It really has been successful, and I'm really thankful for that. So I just really have become a prairie enthusiast, and that's the inspiration for Prairie Market and Prairie Oils now.
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. Look how lush these grasses are. You who
Yeah.
grow grasses and appreciate grasses, no fertilizer, no lime, no irrigation. Look at this. Unfortunately, the farmers didn't know what they had, and they plowed this to plant corn and wheat and stuff like that. And if they would have left some, they would have had the most wonderful hay for their cattle.
Nutrient dense, yeah.
But yeah, it's just a
And
shame.
Mel, before you let it return, what was it? What was it being?
Fescue, Bermuda. My dad won a pasture award for having some of the best pasture in the state of Arkansas after he put his fescue and Bermuda grasses in, which are exotic grasses. So I had to kill them all. Well,
He said his dad would roll
that
over and
particular
screw it.
year I supported Monsanto. I bought some Roundup. And I sprayed this 3 times with Roundup. But I did it, I actually tricked the Roundup with some aluminum sulfate and didn't have to use as much to kill as much as I could. And then the next year, that winter, I planted my seed mix of over 100 species that I'd hand gathered a lot of it, of the plants. Put it in, and I had the best crop of weeds you've ever seen. The first year, it looked like a total disaster. We just kept clipping it a little higher each time. But within 3 years, we were able to burn, and once you're able to burn, the native stuff thrives, the exotic stuff begins to diminish. Fire is your secret. See these cedar trees, we call them, they're actually junipers back under this undergrowth here. Do you see that? Not the pine, but the junipers. Those grow up and the prairie goes away. And in the wintertime, whenever you're driving toward Branson and you're driving toward the lake, if you look up on those hillsides, you see what we call cedar glades. You know what I'm talking about? Those bands of cedar? That used to be savanna. Okay? Those were open glades where native plants grew whenever there was fire. But once the fire suppression started, the cedar grew up and those disappeared.
What are some of the benefits of fire?
Well, the main one is it gets rid of the chiggers and ticks. You think I'd be standing out here?
Well, I wondered about
Yeah.
that.
If it wasn't for fire? People ask me, hey, what's the natural way to get rid of ticks and chiggers? I said, I got a good one. It's called control burn. So one of many things, but it gets rid of the cedar. Cedar cannot tolerate fire. I mean, it'll kill it in a second. You wouldn't believe how just the heat will kill it. So it kills back the trees. It releases some nutrient, not a whole lot, but primarily it just cleans it up and it makes the native stuff thrive.
So how often do you burn?
I do control burns, and last year I didn't even burn. I let my nephew hay this. He cut it off because when you hay, it's similar to a herd of animals coming through and cropping the grass off. And I wanted to see what that did.
Except there's no return of nutrients.
Yes,
true.
good point. But I usually do, I have a trail down the middle, and that's my barrier. And I'm just a lucky fire person, I guess.
He's a
Because
pyromaniac.
pyromaniac.
I'd leave
I
when he
burn
burns
this
his
prairie all
place.
by myself. I used to ask people to come and help me and stuff, and I pretty much just go here and burn it by myself. I've just kind of learned how to play with the humidity and the wind and stuff. And so far, I've had controlled burns.
When you see us on the front page of Harrison Daily Times,
But in answer to your question, I usually burn about half of it. The other half needs to be left for habitat. We should hear bobwhite quail over me back here whistling. And I tell my grandkids, I said, listen to that because you may not hear that when you're an adult. Nearly all of our bobwhite quail are gone. And
Also habitat.
yeah, it's habitat, exactly. This is ideal habitat. You see how thick and lush this is? When you pull this back, there's bare ground under there, and that's where them little baby quails can run under this grass. They can't do that in fescue.
Did they come or did you bring them in?
No, they were here.
They were here.
They're just barely hanging on from what I can see, and I can only get one covey. I'll reproduce one covey on this 20 acres, and that's just about it. And everything loves to eat quail. Cats, hawks, fox, humans. Any other questions? Yeah.
The mounds out there, what's the mounds all about?
Oh.
Prairie dog homes or?
Finally, somebody asked about the prairie pimples. Yeah, those are
It's a
pimples.
teenager prairie.
Believe it or not, you can know if you're looking at native, undisturbed prairie by looking for hummocks and their prairie pimples. If you drive through Baker Prairie, you've seen these, particularly after they burn, they really show. I artificially put these in here. I tried to see if I could see any little swells, because I knew they were here originally, because there's a few places around I can see them in the woods. And I tried to put them back. There's 76 of them out here. They create their own little ecosystem, and some things grow up on that dry part of the prairie pimple, and they do well there, and they don't do it anywhere else. So it's just part of,
Creates diversity.
yeah. But prairie once extended, get this, then the main feature of North America when Europeans came here was not trees. It was this endless sea of grasses called grasslands or prairies. This is tall grass prairie. Beyond us to western Oklahoma, short grass prairies going into the Colorados. But all the way up into Canada, down into Mexico, was this prairie that extended for miles and miles, endless sea of grass. And only about 2% of it remains today, and most of that's out west. Yeah.
Tell them how tall this tall grass prairie gets.
This tall grass prairie is over our head, down in the bottoms in the summer times. The stems, the fodder, you're seeing the fodder here? That's about as tall as fodder gets. And the next thing will be a stem with a seed on it. And it'll get as tall as 10 feet, okay? It has a hard time staying up there because we'll get a thunderstorm or a wind and it'll lay it down. But I used to hear about settlers saying they rode on horses through the tall grass prairie and the grass is as tall as their head on horseback. Now I believe it. It's true. Boy, you guys have been good listeners. Thank you.
Anyone going to pass out? Okay.
I'd really like to encourage you to try to do some native landscape and incorporate some native plants, into your property. I know there's some programs that'll help you. Some of the conservation people, the game and fish will help you. And I'll certainly try to help you as much as I can. And you're welcome to come here and collect all the seeds you want. Okay? Or just to come for a walk. You don't even have to ask for permission. You got my permission. Just come up here, park wherever, and take down this trail. I always keep it mowed. A trail is like animals. If this was native prairie and there were still buffalo, there'd be trails out here. The buffalo would follow trails. And so these trails are great habitat too for little quail to run out in and little rabbits to run out and rodents and stuff. But there's a trail all the way around and one down through the middle. So it's a great place to jog, to walk, and you're welcome to come here.
Have you seen any painted buntings out here?
I haven't. But we do have the grasshopper sparrow out here, which is a rare bird.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an indiscreet little bird that most of us would not really notice, but birders go looking for that.
Okay.
Tell them what the white top stuff is.
Well, you see it's fading, but that little white top, that's fleabane, and that's one you can oil. You can get essential oil from it.
It's really good for your muscles. If you use Young Living oils, it's in a lot of their muscle blends. Fleabane is.
You see this plant right here and out there, the tall sunflowers on it? Compass plant. It's in the aster family. It's one of the sunflowers. It's called compass because unlike most sunflowers, which face the sun and turn, that one is the 4 points of the compass. That's how it got its name. It has a resin in it that's a gum. Supposedly, before chewing gum come along, they would chew on that some, and I've tried it. That stuff's nasty. It gets stuck in your teeth. But supposedly, it was used as a gum. Yeah.
How much native seed do you think we're still left here after?
None to speak of. None to speak of.
You know how long it was cultivated?
Oh, I'm going to say probably 70 years. we find horseshoes out here and a little drag chain and stuff like that. So they were using horses in here a lot, you know, to probably grow corn and stuff like that. These prairies, boy, when they first plowed them, I'm sure they were rich in organic matter and nutrient in the first year or two that their crops really did well. But then the oxidation and the depletion of the soil, you know, over time, they quit growing that. And so by the time my dad comes here, it's grassland now, and they're growing grasses because they found that it just doesn't grow cotton. They used to grow cotton here. Did you know that?
Yeah.
They grew tobacco here and all kinds of stuff. But after they depleted the soils, they pretty much went back to grasses.
Is there yarrow out here?
Yes, there is.
What does it look like?
Looks like yarrow.
It's
You know,
I would.
it looks similar to that when it's blooming.
Only it's got a flat top.
Yeah, it's got a flat top and it's white.
It has it's
Ferny.
its botanical name is Achillea millefolium,
Smell this.
and the name millefolium means
That's
millions or
I wanna make
millions
some
of
more
tiny
of
little
that.
leaves.
You think I
So
make
the
any
leaf
more?
looks like
Yeah, I
like
like
a
that.
feather almost. To me, when I look at it to identify it, it's like a feather. But Achilles, think of Achilles heel. Yarrow is used to stop bleeding. So you can make a tea of it with it. But it grows wild out here. I didn't know it until I asked him, and then he points it out on the trail sometimes to me. Another plant we've got down in the middle that we've been harvesting the flowers from is elderberry. Or the plant is called elder. It makes elderberries, but there's elder flower. And so we've been drying that, making tea with it. And it's a great
Those
fever
essential
reducer
oils.
for children. And if you combine that with peppermint, I've heard that it enhances it. And peppermint is like an enhancer, and it drives other herbs in further to do their job. So elderflower right now, and then another one's a butterfly. What do you call it? It's pleurisy root, but it's
Butterfly weed.
Butterfly weed's everywhere out right now too. That's another one that's out. That has really good medicinal value. What else is out?
The elder flower or elder plant, whenever Europeans came here, they had it in Europe. They were excited to see it because one, that's what they made ink with. That's how they could write. Two, it was their medicine. They used it particularly for heart and a few things like that. We're going to really be promoting elderberry juice whenever the flu shot season rolls around this year. We're going to encourage people, don't take your flu shot, take your elderberry
And
juice.
studies are showing it's better. It works better than a flu shot.
And the third thing is for food. They use elderberries for food.
You can make fritters out of the flowers. You can just
So
bread them and fry
it's
them.
funny that they were excited about it and used it extensively, and now today most Americans don't even know what it is. Elder.
Very high in antioxidants, much higher than blueberries or anything else.
Yeah. I appreciate your
It's-
comments.
it's
I
a
love
superfood.
when people know
Yeah.
things and speak up.
The
Well, I
sun's
hope-
kind of disappeared, so
Yeah.
do we want to
You don't want to just walk and look? If you do, I'd like to take you. I walk it every day.
I'm ready.
All right, that's good.
My
Get your
daughter's
hike
already
on.
out there.
Your daughter's out there.
You gotta
Do
go
you see a little towhead bouncing around?
a prairie dog.
Prairie dogs.
That's play day.
Prairie children.
He's out there too, so someone left there.
Prairie dog.
Well, nominate for that buckthroat, and it puts a little red berry on it. Real pretty.
What do we call this?
You got to pull closer.
Nothing eats it until nothing eats it until we starve out with it and birds will eat it. And a deer will eat it.
Do you have a lot of deer here?
I don't, and I'm very thankful for that because of my garden.
Yeah, we have to cage everything.
Yeah, they have really become more of a nuisance with time, but for some reason we just don't have deer right here.
I noticed back there on your trees that you were cutting out the middle.
Yeah, you really want to open up your trees, yeah, for airflow and sun. That's our one-eyed tree there. The grandkids loved it when I put that face up there, and then they always, for years, they'd say, "Papa, when are you going to fix the old man in the tree?" This never happened. We do grow hemp in the prairie. This is Indian hemp right here. It's very fibrous. You know how hemp is used for fiber?
Ropes and stuff.
Yeah, they say it's one of the strongest fibers in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, this invented carbon nanotubes, which are like 900 times stronger than steel.
Oh, this is eastern gamma grass, and it grows in a round circle. Ring grass is another name for it. I like to call it turkey foot grass because look at that. It looks like a chicken or turkey foot. This is a really strong plant. It dominates where it grows. I introduced this with rhizomes, and they were building some mini storages there by Baker Prairie, and I went in and dug one of these up, and I bet I got 200 starts out of it. So where I plugged it into my prairie, it was actually rescued.
It's excellent for cattle, it's very high in protein, but it can't take constant grazing.
Yeah.
If you would do, you know.
I had a farmer tell me once that some farmers call this ice cream grass.
Yeah.
They say when you turn the cows in, they'll go eat this first.
Protein like corn.
Yeah.
Like corn should be.
They thought this was a relative of corn for a while, but
Yep.
then they decided that it's not.
So you can say you're
Maize.
growing ice cream.
Yeah, there you go.
Where's the ice cream tree?
All right.
Whoopsie.
Here, you're okay. You guys can pass, don't worry about it.
This plant is called rattlesnake master, and we know because of digging in some of the caverns that Native Americans used the fibers of this to make cord and in turn made shoes. And up in Missouri, they have found in different times these fibers, which get better with time, but they're extremely strong, that they weaved them together to make a cord, and then they made kind of like a flip-flop kind of a shoe out of that. But rattlesnake master, it seems to be like a yucca family or something. It was called rattlesnake master because, you know, early botanists would look at a plant and they'd say, well, yeah, see that? That's good for snake bite. But there's nothing to that in this case that we know of. I had never been snake bit.
So in other words, they just made it up.
Well, and sometimes they were right. They would look at something, you know, and
Yeah, like kidney beans.
yeah.
They're good for your kidneys. Yeah,
yeah, and they really are.
Exactly.
And walnuts look like a brain, and they're good for your brain.
So they just make assumptions.
There's a compass you can see closer, and that particular one is not doing what I said it would do. It's all pointed the same direction, but they will point other directions. I guess the sun was so overpowering today, it just decided to look at it. See how up here, though, there's one looking at us?
Yeah.
Be away from the sun.
Yeah.
Let your nose also tell you a few things. As you walk down, you'll notice different smells, different parts of the day. You'll smell a lot of juniper or cedar, but there's also some other smells you might identify.
What is this here?
That's a dogwood, but it's a little bit different dogwood than maybe you're familiar with. We have a couple of varieties of dogwood, and this is not, you know, we're used to the big flowering dogwood. This one has little multiples on it. I don't know the botanical name for it, but it's a type of dogwood.
In other words, you haven't been hanging around Gary long enough.
You're right. I try to pretty much stick with common names because
Sure.
a lot of times the common name has something to do with the plant, and there's some. If you can connect a story or a use for a plant.
I mean a red bud?
Red bud, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And you can see it suffers from fire damage. See that? The heat. See
Now-
this juniper here? Look how the heat did that. That's from fires.
Now I know the not the pods, but the little
Blooms.
Well, the little things in the pod, the seeds,
Okay, yeah.
are supposed to be edible, but what time of year are they edible?
When they're dry, yeah.
Oh, at the
yeah,
at the
when they're
end
dry.
when they're dry. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're a legume. It's a legume, so.
And then do you cook them like a pea or a...
Well, yeah, or you could eat them raw. Birds, you know, game eat them, but you know, if you were eating enough to try to fill you up, you'd have to eat a lot of them because they're so tiny. When the fire does open a tree like this, to us, it's not very pretty, but this is habitat. Guess where our birds want to land? They won't land in the middle of a cedar tree unless they're going to spend the night. So a lot of birds land on these dead limbs. I try to encourage people, if you got a dead tree on your property and it's safe to leave it standing, it's amazing the habitat that a dead tree is.
I've noticed when we go for walks, the turkey vultures
Yeah, keep on that.
really like those big
Oh yeah,
dead
get
trees.
on the dead trees, yeah. Did someone call my name? Yeah, okay. They're dangerous, okay, because limbs fall off of them. But if you can keep them out, it's so beneficial, and especially, you know, like the affiliated woodpeckers, they're going to go for that. And other birds and insects. And it supports all kinds of smaller forms of life. I don't even think we talked about the logs I had around my blueberries and stuff that you see in my borders, the pine logs. And that's a big mistake a lot of people make. They want to use railroad ties. That stuff, don't. If you got railroad ties on your property, do yourself a favor. Haul them off. Get rid of them. That creosote is a known carcinogen. And in California, it's illegal to have one now. And it should be. That stuff's terrible. Get rid of railroad ties. Use rocks, use masonry, or untreated wood. So if you got to have something permanent, go with rocks. If you're okay like I am with wood, and because I could have shown you, if we would have rolled one of those logs over, you should have seen all the life that's under it. Yeah.
What is this poison?
That's what Hannah was talking about, the spider wart, you know, that she was showing you, that's all edible. I wish you could see that blooming. It's a day flower and it's so pretty, but you have to be here early in the morning because the heat causes it to close up.
Is there anything new, or you want to wrap it up?
I can't think of anything new.
Okay.
I'm sure there is as we get on around a little further, but
I can film as long as you want, but there's nothing to do. There's no point in it.
I'll point out a thing or two when we get down to the bottom.
You know what this is?
That's the compass. The one, look out there, see the big yellow
okay.
flowers? That's your
Where
compass.
it bloomed.
Yeah. Roses, you're going to lose your, if you have knockout roses, I'm sorry to tell you, they're going to die. My bed is dying, and all of our wild roses are dying too. Okay? It's called Rosette's disease. There's a mite that carries it, and there's no treatment for it.
Is that for all roses or?
Knockout roses. This is that multifloral, whatever, abundiflora, whatever. That's where they bred the knockouts from. And I thought, man, knockout roses is the best thing they've ever come up with. Everybody can grow roses now. Well, in about 2 years, we're going to lose them all.
Wow.
One of those bugs that came from overseas.
It's all right. We sent them some GMO corn.
Payback. Look at all the berries on the juniper.
Mm-hmm.
That's about as heavy a production. I don't know what made that tree go so wild with juniper berries, but
Are those the blackberries over there?
they are, and that's my nephew's field, and he has just recently sprayed those. That's that tame blackberry, they call it, that's gone to the wild. And I have a little trouble with it out here. But I've pretty much got it under control. Yeah. Here's a passion flower bloomed out as you come by. Passion flower.
Ooh, isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
What can you do with those? I've been trying
Well,
to research it. Put them everywhere.
Yeah. Is Hannah not with us anymore? But okay.
Nothing
Passion
inside,
fruit. You can make a wonderful drink with it. It'll put a fruit on it.
How did it get
But
you?
it's like white fleshy inside with the
Yeah.
couple of seeds. Is
Yeah.
Did you
You
plant
can
it?
use it.
Okay.
Yeah, but they got to be
Did
right.
you plant it?
No, they're native. They're native. This is the only variety of passion flower this far north. They're tropical, but that variety grows here.
Hey Mel, how come there's no like thistle or anything like that?
Ah, good question.
Huh?
That's a good question. You will see occasionally a thistle out here, but I don't have thistles, and all my neighbors have to spray for thistles.
And you have
I don't
hardly
have
any.
thistles out here because of fire.
Oh.
Fire destroys them, and also because the native prairie, what you see above is only a portion of what's beneath, and there is such a root structure there that it's harder for those sorts of things, even trees, to get started once you get them established. Possum grapes, what we call them, is that little native grape. And right above you is wild cherry, and I've seen my mother have us boys climb a tree. She'd put a sheet on the ground and shake that tree, and these little tiny black cherries come down. Makes the most wonderful fruit to use, and good for the heart. Some of you maybe buy Part black cherry juice. Birds love them.
Yum yum.
The wild grape leaf is edible. Hannah sent me some information on it today. Have any of you ladies or any of you that cooks ever used grape leaf? You roll it up, you put,
Is that what
stuff,
yeah, put the rice
rice and
mixture.
stuff.
This is the stuff my chickens went crazy
Yeah,
over.
grape leaf, wild grape leaf. It
Is
works
there anything
good.
that looks similar to that we have to be careful, or is
Well, when it's wild like this,
it is what it is?
yeah, you get it from a vineyard, more likely it's been sprayed, but not here. If we could observe about 30 seconds of silence, I just want you to listen to the birds. As I walk by myself, this is one of the things I enjoy. There's just all kinds of wonderful things out here to listen to. That's a little poppy mallow, beautiful flowers, kind of closing up. You see that? Yeah, it's a poppy.
Oh look, dun dun dun. There goes.
There's a wild rose that hadn't got too diseased yet.
Oh, those are pretty. Do you have them in your yard? Mm-hmm. He says the burning. He doesn't have the thistles. He says the burn.
The burn plus
Because he
the
burns.
fact that it's so thick.
And it's so thick.
Yeah.
You'll see those in open areas. Yeah, he burns it.
Look
He
down,
didn't burn
especially
last-
you here on the front, because foxes and
Why
coyotes
does he
and
burn?
other animals use this trail, and there are droppings. So
Regrow.
I'll try to keep
and puts
an
nutrients back
eye
into
out
it, and
for
it
it,
gets
so
rid of the non-native plants.
Now here's your 6-foot plants.
well, here's a
7
yes.
foot.
Look here, above my head, and we're not there. We're not as tall as we're going to see stuff, but
Cow's ice cream.
yeah, this is Cal's ice cream here. That's it. But right down in here, because this is what we call alluvial soil, you can see how this is washed in. It's deeper soil, more moisture down here. These grasses get taller. And I wish you could experience this, particularly you who have legs exposed. And just probably 30 minutes from now, it's amazing the cool air that comes out from under this grass. And you feel it on your legs. But
Like a
whenever I
breeze-
walk
like a
down-
breeze.
Yes.
Because
On
of
the
the moisture.
hottest days, when we was having those 100-degree days, I'd walk down through here, and I feel that cool air that was down under there coming out. It's just, this stuff insulates the ground.
What's this?
Feel the stem.
Yeah.
You feel how rough that is?
Yeah.
I call that sandpaper.
Good for anything?
No, it's called rosin leaf sunflower. It's one of the ashes. But I've actually taken it when it gets real further on and show people. You know how sometimes you need to sand your elbow? That leaf you can sand your elbow.
Your feet.
Or your feet or whatever. Pretty
That's
cool.
funny.
This grass here, I don't have a whole lot of. It's called switchgrass. Switchgrass is one of those bio grasses that they make diesel with out in Kansas. They've experimented with it because it makes such an abundance of what I want to say, biomass, I think they call it. And they convert that into diesel.
How is it for the ground? Does it bring up nutrients or?
I'm sure it does, but what's amazing is how it'll grow without hardly any water out in eastern Kansas, or western Kansas, I should say. It's a beautiful grass too in the fall. It turns this flame kind of color, real autumn color.
What is that one?
That's the ice cream grass. Okay, see how it's
looks
growing in a
thinner
circle?
than
Right, but that's a big ring there. See how big that ring is?
These I see everywhere. That big.
Yeah. No, it's not. That's a plant that was brought here as an herb. It's Queen Anne's lace, which is a wild carrot. You pull it by its root and it smells like a carrot.
Is there some blackberry or what? See the little red berries there? Or is it blackberry or what?
That is a blackberry, and that's one of the native blackberries. They're kind of bitter. They're okay for cooking. You have to put some sugar with them.
Yeah, lots of sugar.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of them. Make good wine though.
Yes, they do.
They also make good syrup. I had made a bunch of it last year, and then I used it when I made some pizza. And second ferment, I put a little bit of the blackberry syrup down in it. Ooh, the best.
Sounds good.
Come out here and give you thoughts.
I use this as my time to pray,
Absolutely.
meditate. I pray for my family. I tell everybody I just gotta go get my head straight.
Yeah.
You know, the
That's a
day's
lot.
activities.
Is this
just-
a sinkhole?
This is a little wetland, and it doesn't hold water this time of year. But I created this because whenever you create a wetland, you create a whole different, ecosystem. And there's a grass laying over out there. And there's three kinds of grasses. There's what we call grasses, and then there's sedges, and then there's rushes. And that's a rush. And rushes come in like cattail, for example. We have wetlands. That's one of them. And there's different forms of those grasses. And who knows what they're good for. There's so many plants for us to study and to yet learn what all they're beneficial for. What? Yeah, that's exactly right. That's how you can remember them. Hey, look for one because you'll see some on this trail. Find us a sedge with an edge. Very few, but there's no poisonous snakes I've ever found on my property. And I actually rescued a king snake this big in front of Prairie Market about a month ago.
A king snake will eat that snake. So.
Swimming out in it from the last. I bought that king snake and I put him in my blueberry patch.
There you go.
He went right under those logs.
There you go.
He was at home.
That's the way to do it.
And I told my kids, I said, don't freak out when you see a snake because they help keep the voles and other things.
Right.
Oh, those are dewberries.
Okay, blackberries or red
Well,
berries?
dewberry. See how, look at here, see how these are viney? They kind of just lay down. That's called dewberry. And they don't have very many berries on them. It's hard to find enough to do anything with.
Gotta carry you. Gotta carry you.
This area down in here is, the soil is very rocky and shallow because I took the soil out of here and I made my prairie temples with it. But even though I stripped the soil away and there's not any what we call topsoil down in here, It's interesting, things thrive down here that otherwise don't because they don't have to compete with the aggressiveness of the grasses. One of them being echinacea. See it out there? Echinacea likes poor soil.
Be careful, there's bugs on it, you know. That's why I said that's the protein. Yeah, right. Now you tell me.
What are these?
What are you pointing at?
The white ones?
That's the Queen Anne's lace.
Oh, wow.
The wild carrot. That's a.
How deep is that? It's a temple? No. He dug this out and made a temple.
Or echinacea.
The echinacea I don't have as much of, but elder I probably have some I could let you have. You want
I'd like
like
some eventually.
berries or flowers or both?
Well, I'd like to plant it and I can have whatever I
Oh,
want. if you
starts.
like, yeah.
Oh, I'll give you all the starts you want.
Okay, that's, I mean, you can give,
Let's do it in the wintertime though, when we can
yeah.
move it.
Okay.
You see this greenbrier?
Yeah.
That's vetch you're seeing there.
This is
Yeah.
vetch.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a lagoon too. Greenbrier is edible, and I didn't learn that until
This?
yes.
Oh, I got
I didn't learn that
tons of
until
that.
this year. Old greenbrier, look at this. See that tip right there?
Uh-huh.
Ha ha.
Easy, Mel, easy.
Oh. I do everything to get rid of
Hannah
that
said that,
stuff.
not me.
Yeah, right.
Anybody else want to try some?
So could you get artichokes, Jerusalem artichokes, to get a start out anywhere here in the
Yeah, you
prairie?
could. They're not, you know. I don't know if that one is native or not, though. They grow
I don't
along
know.
roadsides. The Jerusalem artichoke.
And I think they may be like a little sandier soil or something.
I just see them along roadsides. And they're
Okay.
beautiful to look at, you know, when
Yeah.
they bloom.
Yeah,
But you want to be careful putting them in your garden.
yeah, I've tried.
Those are elder.
You just want to find
elder
start
plants. Elder flowers. They love ditches, so if you're going to grow some at your house, if you got a ditch, that's where you want to start them.
Looks like elderberry.
I planted some on my fence row, but they're just really little right now.
There's a piece of firewood, and I wonder how in the world that got out here. There's 2 or 3 of them. Somebody in my family was going to have a little fire down here, I guess.
Mel, are these the elderberry bushes up here?
Yes, they are. And I did not plant them.
Wow,
They just came.
the birds brought them in.
You know, we've got a
But
bunch
you're going
of
to let them go?
We harvest them.
Okay, but I mean,
We
you're going to let
harvest
them...
the blooms and we harvest the berries. But they'll pretty much stay in that ditch line. They won't go
Okay.
anywhere else.
But I mean, will you let them go several years to get big?
No, actually, they do better if you chop them down. I've been
Really?
told.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I'm doing an experiment. These here I didn't chop down, and beyond it up there, do you see how they're shorter?
Okay.
I chopped them down, so I'm gonna see if they benefit from being pruned.
It would seem like letting them go a couple of years might be good.
Well, the guy that we get our elderberry juice from
yeah,
at the store, he said you need to cut them down every winter.
every year.
That's what he said, and I said, okay, I'm gonna do part of mine and just
Yeah.
see.
Okay.
So these are 2 years old?
No, they're older than that, but I didn't cut them down.
Right.
But
I
if you
have
look up
some
there-
little bitty ones. I was
Yeah.
just curious.
You should let them grow.
What are these?
How tall they should get.
That's the poppy. What did I say? It's a poppy anyway.
I'll write it down somewhere.
Surely you do with all your notes. Good job.
Poppy mallow. Poppy
Yeah.
mallow.
Poppy mallow.
No, I had to introduce the seed. Yeah. All of it? Over 100 species of seeds I introduced. Most of them what we call forbs, which are flowers. Grasses and forbs is, that's the 2 categories of plants out here. You've got grasses and flowers. And there's more species of forbs and flowers. As far as grasses, you can count all the grasses out here probably that are native that I wanted to introduce on your finger when you do that. The 5 dominant grasses out here, big blue stem, little blue, eastern gamma, that's the ice cream grass, switchgrass, that's the one I showed you down there, And Indian grass.
Okay,
There's a
here's
lot of Indian grass out
Here's
here.
a blue, right?
That looks like to me big blue. See these big fronds of blue? I'm gonna say those are big blue. Little blue shorter. When they put their seed pod on, they're easier to identify. Oh, right up here's an example. You see how that one's starting to put its stem up? That's big blue.
What are you smelling like you're sweet?
I think you're smelling a combination of things, but
It's almost like cinnamon toast.
yeah.
What's this, sir?
That one? I don't know. What is this?
Different times of the day.
No, some of them.
Oh, I don't know.
They're all subtle, you know, except for the honeysuckle. When you walk the booth on it, like the honeysuckle will dominate. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, getting a little tired.
Yeah. Can you hold it up?
What's that?
Can you hold it up?
Oh, yeah. I just couldn't do that standing bit.
Okay.
Why? Not bad. I can't stand first.
This is an interesting plant because right here the soil's real thin. And this is called goat's rue, and it's a legume, and it puts a bean on it. You can see the bean. It looks like you know what wild pea, sweet pea looks like. You see it growing along roads. It's similar, but smaller. More
Is it a
compact.
nitrogen fixer?
Grass is
It is. Yep. Most of this grass here is the little blue. Yeah, blue stem. Little blue seems to thrive where it doesn't have to compete and the soil is poor. You know how I showed you up at the garden we had laetris that was blooming? You remember the laetris, gay feather? This is a type of it that's late summer and it's called button laetris. Instead of it being continuous like the laetris you saw there, it's got looks like little buttons on it. It's a beautiful flower. And it seems to do well where the soil is dry and thin. Look at this soil. Look how rocky it is. There's just nothing there. And yet, if you get to looking, they're all out in here. I really learned a lesson. One of the lessons I've learned from the prairie is that the Creator created something for every place on earth. And some things just thrive where what we would call, you know, worthless soil, poor soil, things thrive.
And they make the soil better usually.
Right. That's what they need. This is so true about our life too, and the seasons in our life that we don't like, but they're necessary and they're good. Now there is a plant that's beneficial for bees, but it's not native and I didn't plant it. It's called sweet clover. It's a biennial and it'll disappear pretty soon, but see the little white flower? Sweet clover. Bees love it. So makes good honey. There was a pond there, okay? You see the reeds? I took the stock pond out because it's not natural. I didn't want a cow pond out here in the middle of my prairie. Our daughter Jenny got married, her and Justin, 2 years ago under that arch out here. She wanted to have a prairie marriage. Yeah, it was hotter than it was today. It was interesting. It was
not gonna stop me from getting married.
Marriage ceremony. We did it real fast and ran back to the shade.
Where did you get your, this is not anything grass or herb, but your ideas of Western one, what inspired Southwestern?
Well, it's
Beautiful
actually,
place, huh?
It's Mediterranean. Oh, okay. And it's a little bit Italian flavor. Yeah, okay. We got the Italian cypress growing out here. We weren't supposed to go here, but I found what I could grow. What inspired this was Darla and I in 2001 got to be in Italy. Unfortunately, we were there during 9/11, and our son was with his wife and we were out in Tower City. That's about the story. But there was nothing we could do but enjoy Italy. And I came home with the inspiration to go house with that style, with the roof gardens and everything. A courtyard. I wanted a courtyard, and so thank you. That is a native. It's, I'm not going to say it's real native, but it grows wild here. The trumpet vine. That grows along fence rows and everything else. But I brought it in here, and I've trained it on that trellis up there. It's one of my favorite plants. I think it is.
Yeah.
But hummingbirds come here every day and just feed like crazy on that trumpet vine. Y'all want to see the fig tree? You got to see it. See what's happening to my roses? They were so beautiful. It's not, you know, this is lavender. And I'm going to turn this whole landscape into a lavender so we can grow lavender and distill it. These are my Italian cypress that I'm really proud of. Not supposed to grow here. Yeah. That's the fig tree in the courtyard. Look how it's thriving. Yeah, it's going to be as tall as that roof up there. Look at all the figs on it.
What did you do to keep it from winter?
There's a bubble-like insulation. It's like bubble wrap that you put in
Go ahead.
into insulation. I took that and with some duct tape and I insulated every branch of the tree. It took me a while to do that, but it kind of made it interesting because it's shiny aluminum on the outside. Everybody thought it was decorated for Christmas. But this tree was all shiny. Yeah, that's what I did to it. And then come spring, I took it off, and it just.
And yours is completely it's very expensive. It's a very expensive tree.
Fresh figs, and the beauty of it is you don't have to